Hey there! Thanks so much for joining me here tonight. Happy Monday, you guys. We are going to continue on the Granny Squares quilt for today and this week. So thanks so much for joining me here. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for the beginning crafter. And I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. That's 9:30 Eastern and 6:30 Pacific. And it's a time that we can relax and craft together. So thanks again, you guys, for joining me. We are working on more Granny Square quilt blocks. So this is a quilt by Lissa Alexander, and from several years ago, I did put the link for the PDF pattern available here, and I just am having so much fun sewing this. We have 9 blocks done so far. I think there's, 36? I think there's a lot. So we'll be maybe just 30. Nah, I think it's like 36. So we'll be working on this for a little while. So we'll do 6 blocks by 6 blocks. You know, that'll get us our 36 square quilt. And 9, we're on our way. All right, you guys, I'm going to flip you around and we'll get going tonight. Thanks again for joining me. All right, I got them all laid out here. And I am just loving them so far. I think it's going to be so cute all together. So I have them all here so you can see them. And I wonder what tonight's is going to look like. It's all kind of a mystery. So, all right. Whoa, hold on, you guys. All right, I don't know if you guys can hear this, but that's our alarm going off. Hold on here. Okay. I think I'm still here. Are you guys still here? Yeah, it looks that way. So I don't know if you guys heard that, but that is our curfew alarm. Crazy. All right, so I am... God, man, that's freaky. So that might actually go off again. Just so you guys know. I don't know if you heard that or not. Let me read through your comments. Okay, so I don't know if you guys actually heard that. So my phone cut out there for a moment to freak me out and ring the crazy curfew alarm. Whoop! All right, so here is my bin here. So that actually will... That's crazy because I think our curfew was supposed to be at 10 tonight. So I'm not quite sure what that's all about. But we are pretty close to all the stuff. Not right on top of it, Joe, but, you know, we can bike up that way really easily. And I don't know, right now it's scary because of all these other little groups who are doing the damage and stuff. Anyway, we can talk about that too. So anyway, here is the quilt pattern. I like storing my stuff in this little bin here. Oh, you heard it. Okay, you guys, I'm sorry that you heard that. It was probably really loud. Oh, you have it going off in Florida too, and your husband's did too. I was expecting it to go off. Oh, Rebecca, you heard it too. Charlotte heard it. I thought it was supposed to go off a little bit later, but well, you might hear it again. So sorry in advance. All right, so I have my bin organized in the different strips, and I also have instructions. My next step instructions, I've been crossing them out. So, all right, it only looks like I crossed it a little bit. Cut the strips with all the 6 strips. Okay, I have to remember what that means. Okay, press in opposite directions, even, away from teal, odd towards teal. Start next strips. I think this is my real direction, neck direction. So let's see. This is what I'm currently on, whatever's in this bag. And it looks like, okay, so it looks like we've completed a set of strips here. Ooh, this one's gonna be pretty. This one's gonna have a lot of dark colors in it. Ooh, like a nice dark strip down the middle. All right, and so let's set that aside. We won't need that till the end of the week. And then let's get the other parts out here. So we have our little squares. Those I'll throw on the end. I'm putting the strips in order on my table so I can grab them in order. Okay, so these are the these are the 7-inch, so it looks like I ordered them this way. So 14, 21, 28, and 36. Wait, 35 inch, and then we have our 35 inch, the blue, the teal that we're doing in all of the blocks. Okay, set that aside. Actually going to set this pattern aside too. And okay. So here we go, and we've been doing this a little bit differently than the instructions. We kind of have adapted this pattern a little bit. I think it's a little more fun, and there's less cutting, and whenever there's less cutting, I'm all for that. So we're going to start off. We have already sewed the length of each strip together, and you can see they're all different lengths, so it does this kind of stair step. And what we're going to do is we're going to just chop them off in segments. So this one will have 6, then this one will have 5, and so on. So we'll have a bunch of different segments. So let's get a rotary cutter. I will get my cutting glove out, and we will get a ruler. And actually, I don't need this to be perfect, but I'll use a ruler tonight. Then I'm going to have to remember what size these segments are and everything again, too. A lot of relearning. So we have been doing, one thing is for sure, there's a lot of excess here. So I'm just kind of roughly cutting. I'm not even stretching it out. I'm not ironing it or anything yet. I am just kind of roughly cutting because we're going to have enough to chop off. So, I'm not being careless, but I don't have to be exact at this point. I just need to cut these blobs apart. Just checking out your comments. Oh, you started a pink and purple one? Renee, that sounds really pretty, really pretty. Cynthia on YouTube can't wait to start the Granny Squares Quilt. I gotta tell you, this is one of my favorite projects that we've done so far. And it's just so cute. And now that we're doing it kind of this way, it's been really, really fun to sew all these strips together. And one of the things I'm doing on this project is trying to always have something on the sewing machine. So we're gonna get to the point where we're gonna have to sew all these together. And I've been, when you take something on and off the sewing machine, a lot of times we're doing a thing where we have a leader, is what it's called. So we'll have a piece of fabric, just scrap fabric at the top and bottom, and it helps us to continually sew without having threads everywhere. I've been using the strips instead of a little scrap fabric. So as we sew this, we're actually going to sew together our next block. So that's been kind of fun. All right, you guys, I have to actually look up. I believe these were 1.5 inches because I think they end up as 1-inch squares. Yeah, okay, 1.5 inches. Thought I'd better check before I get cutting. Okay, and then we also need to press these. So let's get that out, get the pressing mat going. So now we're gonna press them. I haven't pressed these at all yet. Okay, so it doesn't really matter what order we go in, but let's actually kind of keep it in order, just so I can keep track. So this is the 6. So I have a note here that in this weird way of doing it that I'm going to press the seam allowances in opposite directions so I can nest my seams together later. Oh, thanks, Renee. Renee's saying 1.5 inches. Okay, so on the even numbered one, so like this one that has 6, we're pressing away from the teal. This is our teal, and then the odds we're pressing towards. Okay, that's my little reminder that I needed. Okay, so on the evens, we're pressing away. Ooh, we got some selvage in this one here. Oh, yep. I saw that too, Joe, so I think Joe lives near me. We're supposed to have super bad weather. I might actually come home from the office a little bit early because I think we're supposed to get like major weather around 4-ish. Earlier to the east, but in the Twin Cities here, four-ish. Oh, your Lily and your OCD is happy that I'm pressing now. Yep. I am pressing. So that first little blip where we just cut these pieces apart, we didn't really have to do that. But yeah, nope, I hear ya. At this point, we are giving this a good press. And, you know, we sew them together without pressing. And it does irk the OCD a little bit, for sure. But I like it because it's like, haha, I can secretly have it be all wrinkly now because I know later I have my pressing step. So I actually kind of like it. So this one I pressed, it's an odd number. I pressed towards the teal. Okay, this one's the 4, so it's even. I'm going to press away. You cut all your pieces? Oh, nice, Tracy. That's the big part that takes a lot of time. You're having trouble with the blocks coming out right. Tracy, share in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group on Facebook if you can, like where you're having trouble, or, you know, try and explain here, but sometimes it's easier with a photo, and then we can figure it out. Okay, 2 left here. Okay, odd, towards. But yeah, it's always this first day. Oh, that's what I was saying when the alarm went off. But this is kind of the challenge of switching projects every week. So if you guys don't know what we're doing, every week we are focusing on a project. So we're getting lots of projects done over the year, really, and switching projects kind of allows us to rest on the one, to help us not get fatigued on just one project. And it's just been really fun kind of jumping around, working on different stuff. However, on projects like this, where we work on it a week and then I don't see it again for another 3 weeks, I always have to remember how to do everything. So that's a little bit of a challenge. So today is my relearning what's going on again today. Gretchen says she loves switching. Oh, yes, the new embroidery. Oh, it hasn't shown in your email. Yes, that is unusual, Kathy. Check your spam. I know they've been going to spam sometimes. It is unusual. You should get the pattern, whether you've ordered the bundle or the pattern. They both come with the pattern, the digital pattern. So everyone who has ordered the embroidery month will have the digital pattern in their email. So if you haven't received it, then be sure to check spam and then email me if you can't find it there, and I'll resend the link, but then again, it might still go to spam, but we'll figure it out. All right, now we cut. Now we are cutting our 1.5 inches, and what I like about doing it in this fun way where we sew all the strips together is that in the old way, I'd have to sew these together and then cut them, and then sew the next ones together and cut them, and so on. But now, when we've done it like this, I have all of them ready to go, and I can stack them all on top of each other and cut them all at once, which is amazing because I hate cutting. I'm not putting these in any order. I'm just kind of spreading it out. I am trying to line up this edge on one of my ruler lines, just so hopefully things end up being straight, and then I'm going to trim off this edge, and then I'll rotate it around and cut my 1.5 inches. I should have quite a bit left over. So I'm just kind of grabbing whichever one is on top. Making sure they all cross over this line over here, because that's going to be my first straight edge. And one more. I'm just spreading them out a little bit, so I'm not cutting through like 8 layers of fabric. All right, scooch that guy over. Okay, I think we're good. All right, let me scooch up. scares me. What if I cut wrong? That is always my fear, Sylvia. That is always my fear. I mean, with cutting, like, what if I cut it wrong? What if I, slip? I'm working with a deadly weapon, so what if I cut off a finger? I definitely think about all that stuff when I'm cutting, which drives me crazy. That's why I don't like cutting. So I'm just going to rotate my whole mat here. I think that's the easiest way to do it. And then I think I'm going to just use my ruler, and I'm going to cut on the 1.5 inch line. I only need 4 of each of these, so there is going to be quite a bit of extra. Not quite a bit, but enough so we can sloppily do that first cut, which is nice. Okay, that is the first. I thought I had the new embroidery of the month near me, but I'm not seeing it. So I will show you guys the embroidery of the month tomorrow. I am thrilled with how many of you are getting the bundle. I'm gonna stitch up the bundle. So we embroider the embroidery of the month on the 3rd week of the month. And this month, we are re-releasing one of our projects that we've never actually made together. I only had it available for a tiny bit of time, and so I thought I'd re-release it. I think it's great for the start of summer here. But it is our Stitching Hedgie, and it's a bag. So the bundle, you'll actually get a drawstring bag with it pre-printed on it, and that's what I'm going to stitch, because it'll be a little interesting stitching through the bag. Geez, we do have quite a bit, don't we, left over. So if you guys have any questions about that, and maybe we can figure out how to line it too. I don't know if we'll actually get that far because there's kind of a lot of embroidery on it, but if we have an extra day, I would love to line the piece as well. But that bundle is available now, and I'm really happy with how many of you guys got that, because it'll be fun stitching the bag all together. All right, let's shimmy these off. But yeah, there are still bundles available if you guys are looking for that over at the embroidery of the month page on Penguin and Fish. All right, so I'm not going to do my little layout of these like I usually do, just because it does put us a ton over time. But if we just skip ahead and start lining these up, then we can usually get one of these done. Okay, so now I'm trying to remember how to do this again. I think the teal goes on top and we stair step up. Oh, and the 6 ones we put aside for now. So it's coming back to me, everyone. And I should have kind of maybe kept these a little bit more organized. But now we need our 1 pink piece. I'm going to just get it out now. So I'm using a pink square. This will be the center of the square. I'm using pink for the center of all the squares. So the pink square and our strips so these are our cut up strips, and we're going to actually start offsetting them, and that's going to give us our stair stepped sort of look. But the pink piece and our six pieces, the ones with the 6 on, where are they? Here's one. Those we're setting aside for now. Those come up later. Okay. On my way. And then the rest of these, along with 4 of our extra blue squares that we got here, are teal squares. Grab those from the bag. Now we're going to make up the start of our checkerboard deal here. So all of our teal should be upright, and then we're just going from 5 all the way down to 1. Oop, teal goes up. Yeah, I had to think about this. I thought, maybe, am I doing this backwards? But no, this is how we were doing it. Stair stepping up this way. Oh, this one's going to be pretty. This one's really, really kind of deep, deep blue. Okay, so here's our first little stair step. I'm going to make 4 more of those. I'm just kind of prepping my area to sew. All right, where are the 4s here? The teal is up again. Two and 1. All right. There we are. Okay, so here are our 4 segments that we will be putting together to form our diamond here. So I am going to start with, I'm going to sew this kind of like around and around and around. So I'll always have something on the machine. So instead of sewing all of one first and then all of the next, I'm going to sew the first column, the first 2 columns in this group, and then immediately, without taking it off the machine, I'm going to sew these first 2 columns and then these, and then we will take these 2 off the machine and then sew the next column to it, next column, and then we're just going to keep going around and around like that till we have all of these segments together. So, all right, to the sewing machine. Love this part. Get to sew all these pretties together and start to see what it's going to look like. So we will be doing the nesting of seams with this as well, but this first round is just these. So it's a little goofy. It is a little tricky to get started because, you know, we're always so used to sewing things that are the same length, and these are obviously not, right? So we just have to pay attention to that. I'm always going to have it stair step up with the teal, so I don't want to sew like this. Then the 2 teals are together. I need it stair step there. So I'm going to put them right sides together. I don't really have a right side or a wrong side to this teal, but all right. Oop. And then I'm going to sew. Gosh, I can't even. You know, I moved a bunch. I'm feeling it in my hands now, trying to put these fabrics together. But our neighbor had a bunch of bricks laying outside her house because she did a bunch of gardening yesterday, and she had a thing that said free bricks on it, and we're like, that is not something we want laying around outside right now. So we gathered them all and put them in our yard, and it was a lot of bricks. I'm feeling it in my hands now. All right, so I'm going to sew, and I'm going to sew all the way down to here. Do a little back tack. Oh gosh, I'm just used to the back tacking from our last project last week, the foundation paper piecing, but I didn't start with a leader, so I just did a little back tack. We're gonna have to trim that off in a bit, but all right, I'm gonna sew all the way down to the end here. I know I'm not on another piece of fabric here, but that's okay. We're gonna eventually cut all of that off. So all right, I'm grabbing the next column, and we're just gonna go around. We're gonna keep doing these. Maybe I need to move bricks more often. I could strengthen the hands a little bit, I guess. Or rock climbing, that would do it. Yeah, that's the sad state of affairs. Yeah, I mean, like right now, it's, it's not the protesters who are causing trouble now. So they've been finding, I don't know. I know this is happening in tons of cities now, but here in Minneapolis, there's lots of unmarked cars that are stolen vehicles or cars that they've stolen the license plate off, and they're filled with rocks and flammable items, and during the daytime police and other people have found flammable like gas cans and stuff hidden in their bushes and stuff like that. So they're being placed during the day so people can use them later at night. So right now it's just a battle of finding all of these people that are trying to burn things down and hide these things, and it's not any protesters or anything, and it's just, that's what's scary, is that it's, you know, the protesters are getting caught with being like a guard, you know, being a like cloak for these other people unwillingly. It's just not cool, and we gotta, you know, so all these suburbs are looking for stuff like that around here too, and even like, you know, bricks. Like we can't have a whole pile of bricks laying around, so we took care of that for our neighbor. Ugh. But all right, my hand's kind of shaking though from carrying them all. All right, I'm nesting my seam together here, and that just means, remember we pressed our seam allowances in different directions. So now when I put them together, they each have a fold in the opposite direction. And those folds, when they bump up against each other, it's like a physical barrier, and I want to hold it there. So I'm trying to hold those two bumps next to each other. And that's what's going to get our seams to match really, really perfectly. So I'll show you that as soon as I get there. And you know what, I'm going to trim all the rest of these off now, instead of cutting them off one by one. These are our first little bits. These are our 1s and 2s sewn together, and now I'm starting the 3s. And this is where we have to start nesting those seams. So let's do the next one here. Oh, you love the Hedgie bag, but you spilled coffee on it. Oh no! Oh, the next one's going in the quilt. Oh, that's cool, Robin. Yep, if you guys have been with me for a while, this is kind of a little re-release of the Hedgie bag. But now I don't think I've ever offered it with all the supplies and everything to make it in there. So it's a bit different. But we thought it'd be a fun one to stitch again, and I actually don't have a version of it made up as a bag just for my own personal use. So I want the cute little, I want a little Hedgie bag too. So I'd love to stitch it up and then do a lining for it, because I know some people last time asked me about a lining. So hopefully we can stitch it up pretty quickly. And then we can do a lining for it as well. That'd be kind of fun. All right, and this guy. Oh, you got in trouble for not having 2 Hedgie bags. Oh, funny. It is a cute one, and it's a cute gift because it is, you do end up with like a little bag that you can fill with stuff, which is fun. Gifty stuff. All right, so we sewed on the next round. I'm going to actually just trim off the first one, and we'll see what those nested seams did. So right here, the fact that this line goes perfectly into this line, and that all those points match perfectly, one's not shifted up or down at all, that's from nesting those seams together. So that is a perfect little seam right there. So I love those nested seams. And that, again, is from having the seam allowances being pressed in opposite directions and bumping those seam allowances together. So let's do the next one where we'll have to continue that process. All right, so bumping those 2 seams. I mean, you can physically feel them kind of lock together. So I'm sewing up to the first one that I just held, and then I'm going to stop and then try and, on the sewing machine here, feel for those next 2 to go together, the next 2 seams. I'm kind of using my stiletto to hold it there in place as I sew. All right, let's trim the rest of these guys off. Oh man, Nolene. Oh, you sprained your wrist. Oh, did you have to go to the hospital at all? Oh gosh, that sounds unpleasant. Ugh. All right, so here again, sewing those seams together. So I'm hoping we can continue like we did last week with this, with the Granny Squares quilt. I'm hoping we can get one block done a day. And I think all those other days I did stay over a little bit, so in the interest of getting one block done a day, which will bring us to 14 blocks, I'm going to try and just finish one, even if I have to go over a few minutes. So we may be going over a couple minutes every day this week, just so we can get a block done a day. So you could pin or clip all of your seams together before you start sewing, but I find that this is, pretty easy to do versus I hate taking time to pin, even though sometimes it's the smart thing to do, but when I can avoid it, I do. Oh, yeah, so Charlotte, I think we'll eventually use these bricks. I mean, we just didn't want them out on the street. They were just right out on the side, and it said like free bricks, and we're like, we cannot have people see these. So we took them and covered them up and restacked them, which was a lot of work. There were a lot of them, but I think we'll actually use them. John wants to make a little patio area, so that'd be we can just lay out all those bricks there, dig them down a little bit. So I think that's our plan. All right, let's trim all these off. And we have one more to stick on here, the number 5s. But look, it's looking cute. We're getting our stair steps going. Oh, see, now here is, if you're not getting it perfect, then it'll shift down a little bit. So this guy here, you see how this line, and it shifts down a little bit, and that line goes there. So I didn't perfectly match those seams compared to this one where it goes straight across really nicely. Oh well. Oh, do they, Sylvia? Yeah, I mean, we've acquired so many random things like that from neighbors, but we use them all. Could do an edging around the garden or something with it, but for now we just stacked them. When our neighbors moved away, they asked us to see if there's anything else to clean in their yard, because someone was coming to look at the house or something, and they said we could have their wood pile, and so we collected a bunch of their really nice wood. This is when we had a fireplace still, a wood burning fireplace. So we got all their wood. Someone had these cute little chairs outside that they were getting rid of, and so we asked them about those, and so we acquired these cute little chairs too. All sorts of fun stuffs from the neighbors. Oh, the heart section of your Aurifil block is too short. Oh, to match the other sections, it's not wide enough. Oh, Rebecca, just try adding, on the parts that aren't wide enough, maybe just add a little bit of a similar color, and then maybe once it's all done, you won't even be able to tell. Versus remaking it all, I would just try and add a little border here or there. Once it's in the quilt, and especially once it's a finished quilt, I don't think you'll notice so much. But yeah, I bet that must feel frustrating though. Okay, bloop. I'm always kind of doing a double check that I'm stair stepping the teal, so I'm not accidentally going this way. Get those seams matched. All right, I think they're together. But see how we're sewing one thing right after the other? That's called chain piecing, because you're ending up with like a long chain of blocks here, or of sewn elements. So this is the idea of always having something on the machine too. It just saves time and you get more done without having to take it off and snip your threads and all that. We don't have that problem with chain piecing. So we are approaching not having anything else to sew onto this, because this is my last piece right here, and I don't have anything to sew onto it like this to get all of this off, because we're going to need all this now. And that means that we are going to grab some strips to start our next grouping of strips, like what we started out with today. So that's been kind of the fun, is as we're sewing our current piece, we are grabbing strips that will construct our other piece. And for those strips, I've been picking them randomly, and that's been pretty fun too. I mean, we've pre-picked the colors, we've pre-picked the fabrics, so I have them all in the baggie. So I know they're all going to go together, because we spent a lot of time figuring that out at the beginning. So there's just a little bit of randomness, which is fun. So all right, that means we are going to start off with our teal strip. Every block starts out with the teal, because that's our coordinating color. So that's that long 35-inch strip. And then the next bag in the row is our 35-inch strip. It matches, fell on the floor. Matches the length of the teal. All right, so here's where I open it up and just kind of randomly pick. I close my eyes and pick, and it's gonna be whatever this thing is. Ooh, all right, we got little lions on there. Cute. Okay, so that's pick number 1 for the day. Okay, so let's match. This is folded in half. So let's match these up. And this will be our first grouping. So right sides together. And again, this gets this whole mess off the machine without actually having to lift up this and have straggly threads or anything. We get to just start sewing the next thing. You do have to keep your head at what's all on the machine when you're sewing more than one thing at once, but I think with these strips it's pretty easy. I'm just stopping every once in a while to reline up the edge. Oh man, you guys, it was so steamy outside here today. We've had to fully close the house, and we might have actually a window here and there open, but the air is definitely running, and it's so humid. But then tomorrow we're supposed to have some pretty severe storms, I think, like hail and tornado watches towards the southwest, I think. I think around 4 o'clock it's supposed to get to here, which could be hail or something. We'll have to see. Hopefully not. But then it's supposed to dissipate, so I don't know. It may be thunderstorming tomorrow while we're here or not. But then I guess on Wednesday it's supposed to be so beautiful again, like without summer without the humidity. So that'll be nice. It can get extremely humid here. Ooh, my machine is shaking a bit today. Let's resituate everything. I think my table actually shakes a little bit when I sew here. we'll see if we can get that fixed. All right, so now I can take this off. There we go. So this guy served its purpose, and we are headed to the pressing area again here. All right, so that's our big sewing bit. We'll have to sew a few more things together in a hair here, but let's snip these apart and see how we did. See what this is starting to look like. See, now we don't have any big threads either. We just have to snip the little bit that was in between. So that's nice. It's looking cute. All right, let's press. So I believe I am pressing away from this large piece, from this piece here. So I'm going to just put them down like this again. And, oh, thanks, Rebecca. Rebecca says the fabric with the line is pretty. So I guess I didn't mention that. So all the fabric that I'm using on this quilt, I always give myself parameters when I'm working on a project, and one of the parameters for this project is that I was going to use all fabric from some of my old fabric collections. So I used to design fabric, and that'd be fun. I should maybe think about doing that again, but I used to design fabric. I think I had about 10 fabric lines in total before I stopped doing it, and these are all various scraps from those lines. So all this fabric, all these fabrics are from Penguin and Fish, and even the colors, the solids, were meant to go with different fabric collections, so they match some of the fabric collections. But that's been fun to do. I haven't made a quilt with my own fabrics in a long time, so thought, you know what, this Granny Square quilt will use up some of these scraps. So it's all scrap. None of it was in yardage or anything really, or even fat quarters or anything. So it was a little bit of a challenge during when we were cutting everything, but thank goodness we're past that stage now. Everything we cut out already. Okay, we are pressed. Let's see what we do next here. Okay, now we are going to bring back these fellers. So these were our ones with 6 in, and then our little pink middle. So now we can actually start kind of placing this. We're going to put it in our little diamond shape here. Okay, and so this red guy goes in the middle, and then our 6 pieces go with the teal on the outside. I'm just peeking at what it all looks like. Fun. Fun, fun. So this is we're getting kind of our first glimpse of what the block's going to look like. There is quite a big dark area, that dark square there. I kind of love that. We got a light area and then that pop. It's just always fun to see what these turn out as. So really what we have going on here is a version of a 9 patch. And that's where you have 9 pieces that you're going to sew together in a block. So I have row number 1, 1, 2, 3, row number 2, and row number 3 here, and they each have 3 in. So what we're going to do this in a similar way. We're going to sew the first column of all 3 of these rows together, and then we're keeping on going around and around on the machine again. So we'll keep them on the machine, and then when we get to here, we'll take this one off the machine, then sew that, and then this, and then we'll have to sew another strip to get all of it off of a machine. And then once these are all sewn together, we are going to press them, and then they get sewn to the center strip, and then we'll just trim the edge and we'll be done. So that's what we have left here. Okay, so starting with the first columns again, we'll have to match all of these seams up like we've been doing. But that's the kind of layout of this. I love this quilt though, because it does, I mean, it's called the Granny Square Quilt. It's referring to like a crocheted granny square afghan, and it really does look similar. You got your colorful square, and then you go around and around the square with crochet, and each row around the middle is a different color, and that's exactly kind of what we're getting here. It's fun and they're cute. I like it. So I have the teal in line with these other teals. So we're still doing the stair stepping, and I'm just matching each one of these seams before I move forward. So instead of sewing like zoop, that's why I'm stopping. I'm stopping once I have the needle in the seam that I just put together here. So, all right, this is the next one. I'm going to sew up to there. And the last one here. And then just sewing to the end like we've been doing. Okay, and then we can sew row number 2, and that's just these little pieces. So let's flip this together. That's all there is to it to this row. Okay, and then the last row, again, is one of these dealies. I think I've been sewing these. I don't know. This will work. So I have a hunch that our little crazy alarm is going to go off again soon. So if I jump again, and I'm guessing you guys, or yeah, you guys said that you heard that alarm too. So I apologize in advance if we hear that again. Oh, Darlene, thanks. Darlene says she likes the colors of the Granny Square. So actually that was another part of the process. So the first video, I mean, I think this is video 21 of this. So we've been working on this for weeks, but the first video, one of my parameters is I wanted to try and see if I could do a quilt around the idea of the color of the year. They had just released the color of the year, which is that classic blue Pantone. The Pantone color company had released, or they just make a statement that this is the color of the year. So it's this kind of classic blue, but I didn't have enough of that blue to have it be the outside color. So we tried to generate a bunch of colors that looked good with that blue. We made a Pinterest board together here and did some research on, what looked good with that blue, and chose our colors based on our final kind of photos that we liked. So if you want to see how we picked a whole color scheme based on what we had, the fabric we kind of had available, check out that first video for this entire project. That was pretty fun. I hadn't really done that before. All right, I'm snipping off. Remember, we have this strip here. I'm going to just move that out of the way for now because we need to trim off it's actually the last thing hanging off the machine. That's our first row. So there we are. Now we got to sew this second, or the last thing, the third piece of that row together. So let's flip those together. Line up those edges. I've lined up that first nested seam. Get this next one. I'm always trying to have the needle in the downward position just because I'm tugging on it a lot and it won't slide away from underneath there because the needle is holding it down. So when I can, I'm trying to, unless I'm being lazy, then I'm, some sewing machines, like all the new sewing machines, have something where you can just decide if you want your needle to end up or down, like an automatic needle down feature. This old machine wouldn't even know what you're talking about. This guy wouldn't know what you're talking about if you asked him what a zigzag was. So this just does a straight stitch and that's it. All right, last bit of row number 2. But yeah, my mom's machine you know, whenever she stops sewing, she can tell it that she wants it automatically to be in this down position, which is handy, especially if you are tugging on this, it's not going to get away from you, or if you need to pivot, like if you are on a corner and you need to turn to make that corner, that needle down feature is pretty handy. All right. Get those seams together. This is our last little row. A trip around the world. Oh, is that what this is? That this style of block? This could be. I'm not sure, Rebecca. I don't know. Like I don't. I'm not versed enough to know like all the fun names for all the quilt block styles. All the classic styles of quilt blocks, which is what most quilts are constructed of. They're of some classic block that's been around for like 100 years or something, and then just different combinations of those, and they all have their cute names. But I only know a couple of the names. Okay, we're actually done with our rows, but again, I got to get this off the machine, and that means I can sew another strip to this. So, all right, let's get the next strip. So now we're stair-stepping our strips, right? So this is the next size down. So, all right, I'm going to close my eyes again. We're going to pick randomly from here. What do I got here? Ooh, we got the little, that kind of cute little blue zebra print. We're using this in our current block too. That's the nice thing is I repeated colors a lot, so by having the same pattern in a lot of different blocks, I think it's going to make the whole quilt kind of a little cohesive. So right sides together again, and we're going to just sew until we run out of fabric on this strip. And I'm not, you notice I didn't iron this open or anything, or I didn't iron it first before sewing the next strip on. That's what we did after we trimmed them all down. At the beginning of today. Yep, I'm just checking the time. I think we'll go at least 5 minutes over. I think tonight, I think probably more like 10 minutes. So that'll probably be the standard for this week. Just because I am trying to finish a block a day here. So we may go a hair over. So tomorrow may be questionable if it's super stormy. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But I'm thinking internet will still work. But if we lose power or something, that'll be a problem. All right, there we go. We ran out of fabric there because it's shorter. I'm just going to kind of shimmy off to the side a little bit. Remember, we have a lot of extra when we cut this, so you know, if I have a little sewn bit on there, that's not going to matter. All right, let's trim off our current block. There we are, and back to press. Okay, here we go. Oh, they're still all connected from chain piecing, so let's trim that first of all. I don't really remember which one was the top or bottom, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, for this, we are going to press. We're still doing those nested seams, which means our seams, when we sew these 3 rows together, have to be in opposite directions. So with these big pieces, we're pressing these seams outward. So both of these will go out like that. And I don't want to just press on this because I'm going to I don't want to change the direction of any of these other seams. So what I'm going to do is just kind of hover over these seams. I'm just going to press just a tiny bit just to get them wanting to be outward like that. And then I'm going to flip it set that on the iron. I'm just going to make sure that all those seams are outward. There we go. And now we'll give it like a better press. Just kind of pull on it a little bit. Make sure all those seams are outward. Yep, I think we're good on this side too. There, then we're not smearing all those other seams on the other side. They can stay where they are. Look at a little koala there. Okay, let's do the other one of those. There we go. See if we got our seams pressed away from each other there. Okay, same thing. Let's do our little hover. That's cute. I'm happy that little koala ended up in there, but here, I'm going to show you. See? So that's our little baby koala, the same koala that's in the koala quilt that I'm making as well. So June has a couple days at the end where it's not July yet, and it's a new week, and it's not July. So I think we have Monday and Tuesday with June still at the end of the month, or before it's July. So I think the first week of next month is not a full week, so that might be a little free week a little bit. I actually might reschedule, or not reschedule, but rearrange our schedule a little bit for July, because July is my block for the Aurifil block of the month. So I'm one of the designers for the Aurifil quilt-along, and my block is July, and the blocks are released on the 15th of the month. So I'd like to sew that up with the 15th, the week of the 15th. So I think that's typically our embroidery week. So we'll see how that plays out. We just might switch those 2 weeks together with each other. So this middle one I pressed to the inside. So now these two guys are pressed outward and this guy's pressed inward. So we'll be able to nest those seams together. So let's just line all this up. Okay. A lot of fun little silly colors in the middle there. All right, let's just match these seams up, and we'll go this way. So now the first time I did this, I accidentally matched these seams up, but then we're not stair-stepping. I need to match this seam up. It's a little awkward, but we're gonna make it happen here. Over on the machine. Okay. One thing I do like about this machine is it's perfectly flat. My other machine has like this rounded edge, and it's annoying. This is much nicer. Oh, there we are, you guys. I totally jumped again. So, I don't know. There's our little city of Minneapolis is under strict curfew at 10 p.m. Go home or stay safe inside, or to a safe inside location. So, all right. There's our warning again, you guys. Oh, God, it makes my skin crawl, and I jumped again. I don't know if you saw me or not. But yeah, I mean, we've been staying up late, like till 2, 3 a.m. every night since Friday or Thursday or Friday. And it's tiring. So chances are we'll be up late tonight too, just keeping an eye on things and keeping the news on. And we've watched a whole pile of, there's a lot of people live streaming, like protesters and stuff that are out and about and just interviewing people and hearing what different people have to say and about the situation and just like the tragedy. And we've been watching that for the past 4 days, so I'm sure they're going to be out again tonight. So we'll watch more live streams and have the news on and just kind of keep an eye out here too, in case it does spread a little bit, which it has been the past few nights, spreading to a little bit more outside the immediate that immediate area of the city. Getting our lights on, all that stuff. It's annoying. It's Leslie Ann's saying 10 p.m. is late for our curfew. It was, this is the first day that it's later. So the past few days, it's been a little milder here, and mild means that everyone's still up all night and keeping an eye on things and, chasing away, I guess, in some areas, these people in these unmarked cars and reporting them and all that. And, when people are throwing, like, Molotov cocktails at things, just getting there in time. And, I don't know, those are some of the stories and some of what we're actually watching live. So, but if you consider all that quieter, it's been a little quieter. So I think for the week, or I don't know, at least today, our curfew has been later. So the past 2-3 days, it's been starting at 8 and then going to 6 a.m. Now, I think it's because it's a work week. I think because it's a work week again and it's calmed down, in quotation marks, they've extended it. Now it's 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. So we got 2 hours off on either side. Anyway. All right, so I got to get this off the machine, which means I got to sew another strip onto here. Wait, did we do this one already? Oh, we did this one already. Wait. No, we didn't. Hold on. We got the 35 inch, the 28 inch, so we do need this one. Let's pick another random thing. Oh yeah, New York curfew is 11:30, but it's also New York. And people are still very much, that's a normal time in New York to be up still. All right, here's our next pick. We got our cute little gray dot with the little kitty faces in. I think that's probably the only the one that shows up on this one. Anna, we are not far away. We are not, we have so it's near our school where we went to college, and so we have a lot of friends in this area that live a lot closer than we do, but we are definitely not far away. We can easily bike to that area of town or like a super long walk. And like I said, now it's not one area of town, it's kind of all over, or it's getting to be a bit more. They're saying cup foods, Gretchen, so C-U-P foods. We do have a lot of cub foods, and cub foods are being attacked, but the memorial site and where it all happened is at this small grocery. It's called Cup Foods. So C-U-P. There's a lot of small businesses in that area. But yeah, that's where the George Floyd memorial is, where everyone gathers. And last night it was, I didn't stay up past 3, but at least till 3, they let protesters stay in that area as a sacred space. That area right outside of Cup Foods. And I think they're treating it as a sacred space now, that they're not they're not doing anything to the protesters, because the first night they full-on army combat mode, scary, pushed everyone out of there, and they trampled over all of the flowers and stuff. So I think some florists donated more flowers to replace the ones there, and now they're treating it more of a sacred area for people. Technically it's past curfew, but they're deciding to just let let them be there. Okay. And now this guy, so same thing, let's flip this together. And we'll sew down that edge. I'm just trying to read your guys' comments at the same time. Oh, they're worried about COVID-19 for sure yet, Noeline. I mean, everyone, there's people wearing masks and stuff too. It's just, you know, it's all important, right? So we talking about COVID and figuring out how to manage it and all that with protests, it's all being talked about and all being, you know, it's just part of the tragedy of it all too. So, yep, we are definitely not pretending it's disappeared here. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that, but yeah, it's not being ignored. I'm just reading a little bit. Yeah, well, yeah, the small business owners who've been dealing with COVID, the COVID lockdowns, and now in some of these areas. And it's not like it's just, now it's these people coming in to take advantage of the situation, not protesters, so it's just scary. That's what's scary about it. But there was a guy that at Cup Foods last night, and we were watching it on like 4 different live streams because there's people live streaming from the Cup Foods, and came in there, was trying to get into a building or whatever, and all the protesters stopped him, and it was crazy, but nice, like just great to see and stuff. But I don't know, trying to catch all these people when you can, but you know, I don't know. I mean, they're definitely rounding up protesters the last couple nights in crazy force, like scary looking, you know, video game army way. The idea is get all the protesters off the streets so they can get all these randos that are just, I don't know, with these Molotov cocktails and stuff. But here we go. This is our next thing. But not everyone's going to get off the street, so. And they're not going to either. So hopefully, like they did last night at the Cup Foods, they just let the real, you know, people in pain be, and then try and get all these other outside influence, scary people. So, hoping we'll get more of that story over the next few days. But people are in like the neighborhoods and stuff are getting like threatening letters in their mailboxes from these people, and like I said earlier, finding canisters of gasoline and stuff hidden in the bushes so that they, you know, people know where they are for later, and all the unmarked cars everywhere. It's pretty scary, that stuff. So, you know, all the neighborhoods have to keep their eyes open for that type of thing. As of late, that's the tricky bit of all of this. You know, can't just have hurt people protesting. You gotta have all these jerk butts here too. All right. Same thing, we're gonna press this outward, and then that's kind of our last little bit here. We're quite a bit over. Well, like I said, we're gonna be going over these next few days because I want to get a block done a day. And actually, we're going to have to sew more strips onto our piece, our second, our strip piece here tomorrow. So we'll actually have a little bit more work to do tomorrow. But we'll get there. I do like having a block done a day, though. And we're going to trim this down yet, so we're still going to get our nice edges. We'll trim all those off. So we'll do that last little bit yet. Ooh, that means I need my square ruler. I'm going to go grab that after we give this a nice press. Ooh, man, it's toasty being over the iron and having it be so humid and warm. And I was chilly coming in, so I put on my sweater, like coming into the air, and ugh, getting all humid again. All right. So this is the part that I like when you turn it to the square. So we've been working on it in this diamond fashion this whole time, but ultimately it's going to be a square for the Granny Squares Square Quilt, and we just rotated it a little bit, and now it's a square. And we are going to trim off these edges. So let me grab my ruler. Okay, I have a big square ruler here. Okay. So ultimately, oh gosh, see, now this is one of those things I should check before I cut, right? I think, and because it's the first night tonight, I don't remember. So I think these are 9 inches. Yep, all right, so we're cutting our blocks down to 9 inches. And I'm cutting 2 edges. I'm going to try and get it as square as I can, and then I'm going to rotate the whole piece, and we will trim off the other 2 sides. So what I'm looking at is where this fold meets the seam. So like right there, these points all the way down, and then same thing on this side. I'm going to match that up. I'm going to try and put it right on the edge of my ruler. And it's tricky because you got to change the angles a little bit. So in theory, if I have it on the edge there and the edge there, then my 9-inch line, which is right here, should also be on those points over here and down here. And I'm going to just adjust until I get them all kind of equidistant apart. So it looks like my block might be a little bit smaller, which means that I'm making my seam allowances a little bit too fat. So I'm going to have to skinny up my seam allowances on the next block a little bit, but luckily we have plenty to work with. Okay, I think that's looking okay. All right, calling it. All right, so I'm going to cut these first 2 edges off. I'm just trying to rotate this a little bit, make it a little easier. Okay, first little bits. Try not to shimmy it. Ooh, this is kind of a weird angle. There we go. Okay, now we can rotate that around. We got those 2 sides square, and now we can line it on the actual 9-inch lines to make sure that we get this right at the 9 inches, and it should line up along those folds, ideally. It's fun cutting out all these triangles, though. It's so finished looking all of a sudden. It's just so clean and pretty. I like that part. All right, let's take a look at it. Oh, it is cute. These are always so cute. All right, I'm loving the colors of this one for sure. And then we got those little hidden animal bits in the middle. Okay, so there we are, you guys. We finished our block for today. So again, I'm going to try and do one of these a night, and hopefully we will have an additional 5 done this week. All right, I'm going to flip you guys around. All right, hello again, all. Nice seeing you again. All right, nice chatting with all of y'all. So here we are. I love how dark that bar is. They're all so different. That's what's fun. So awesome. I will continue, like I said, working on these for the rest of the week. It is Granny Square Quilt Week. And I will also share with you guys the embroidery of the month tomorrow. Be sure to check out penguinandfish.com/embroidery of the month, or just go to Penguin and Fish. It'll be the first thing on there. That is the new embroidery of the month, the Stitching Hedgie. We do have bundles available yet. I am like amazed at all you guys that got them so far. That's so awesome. I'm really excited to stitch the bag with you guys. We do have more, so I got enough hopefully this time for everyone. I know we've been running out, and I've had to reorder some things over the past few months for some of the other ones, so I don't know, hopefully we won't run out of these. So all right, you guys, thanks again, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a great evening. Good night.